Hi, today I am going to be talking about the 2025 book releases that I read in 2025. There are more 2025 releases I plan on reading, just didn't get to them in that year, but there were a few that I read. I've got a stack here and a few others I don't have physical copies of, but this isn't the order that they're in. I just put them in alphabetical order by the author's last name. I thought more ahead than that. By the way, with all these books, I've also talked about them in individual reviews, which I'll link in the description, and sometimes they get talked about in my best books of the year and all those other videos, so I've said a lot about them, and so if you want to learn more about them, you can watch my individual reviews of them. So there are 8 books on this list. 2 of them I technically started reading in 2025 and finished in January of 2026, but I'm still going to count them for this video, and I'll just be ranking them from the order that I enjoyed them least to most. None of these books were horrible. They range from 3 to 5 stars. So number 8, the book of all these that I enjoyed the least. Kind of sad to put this here, but I am saying the new Diary of a Wimpy Kid book, Party Pooper by Jeff Kinney. I still read these and read the new ones that come out, and recently there was just the one for this year out, so I look forward to that. And this is the only 3-star book on this list. I enjoyed reading it partially for the nostalgia and the familiarity, and just because, well, like I said, it's familiar. So it wasn't a not enjoyable reading experience for me, and it's not very long, and there are a bunch of illustrations throughout it. It's very easy to read, in my opinion, very quick to get through, not that complicated. So it wasn't like a big struggle to read it, and it was interesting and fun. My issue with this is just like the main character is not the most likable, and that's just who he is. Like, he's probably not going to change. This is like an episodic series. I don't think he's going to have much character development. That's the point. That's fine. I understand that. I accept that. But he could just be like really selfish, and I feel like sometimes it's more so in one book than another, and I think this book he was pretty selfish, and I get it. That's supposed to be part of the story and the plot and how he cleverly does things. I know I'm taking it too seriously, but that's the thing. I've got like these kids books mixed in with these adult books on this list, so ranking them might be a little complicated and maybe slightly unfair, but these were the books I read, so they're getting ranked here. So unfortunately this is at the bottom, but I did not despise it. The main character is just an issue, but even besides that, like, there were not a lot of other characters that I really enjoyed. Like, there are characters in the series that just didn't show up in this one very much. And I've enjoyed some of the other more recent Diary of a Wimpy Kid books more than this one. This one has a very nice cover. I love the cover, but that's not really the contents of the book itself. So when it came to the book, it wasn't horrible, but certainly not my favorite of this series. Number 7 is Green Jolene and the Neighborhood Swap by Wendy Mass. Now, this book I did give 5 stars. The next book I actually gave 4 stars. So at first I had them in their original places because of that, but the next book is like a whole adult novel, and then this one is a kid's chapter book, like not even middle grade, like a little bit below that, but it's not exactly like a picture book. So ultimately when it came to the next book on this list, that one had more that I liked, but as a whole I didn't absolutely love it, whereas with this one it was just like, it was pretty good. I see no reason not to give it 5 stars, and it's smaller so it's easier to get that ranking, so that's just how I'm doing it. But this was a cute story by one of my favorite authors with a fun protagonist, and it had a lot of resourceful ideas about recycling and being resourceful. That's a bit redundant, but I mean, that's what it was about, taking care of the environment. But it was funny and clever and just a fun, cute little story, really cute illustrations, nice characters. It was a nice story. Nothing absolutely groundbreaking, especially not for my age. Like, I can still enjoy it, of course, but I've just read bigger novels with more to them, so that's kind of why this is near the bottom, just because it's not that big. But it was a good book. It was important, but I didn't feel it was like too preachy either about any issues or about giving the information. It gave information, but I think like as part of the story, and then there are some resources at the back of the book. It's just a little story about a young girl wanting to host a neighborhood swap meet where people can get rid of things that they don't need, and she can give away things that she doesn't need. She kind of reflects on all the stuff she has and does things about some of that, and yeah, it was a nice little story. Not a whole lot to it, but I enjoyed it when I was reading it. I know there's a sequel coming out this year, so I'll read that as well. So maybe that'll be included in my 2026 releases I read in 2026 video. Number 6 is Time Rider by Tom DeLonge and AJ Hartley. I know I had said my plan was to read this and finish it before the end of 2025. That didn't quite happen. I ended up finishing it in January. I did start reading it in December though. It took a little longer than I thought it would, but that's alright. Because it's taken me longer than I thought it would to read this, I think this video is actually going to come out before my review of this, but I do still have a review of this coming out sometime in February, probably. Yeah, most likely. I don't see why not. The book has been read. I have finished it now. So I guess if you haven't seen that review video yet, this video is kind of a spoiler as to how I felt about it. I won't say a whole lot, but I did end up giving it 4 stars. It was pretty good. I didn't absolutely love it, but it did have a lot of good ideas about humanity and being human, like what makes us human, and love and family and connection, and is very much about history. It's a science fiction thriller involving time travel and the JFK assassination and all that stuff. There's a lot to it. Kind of complicated, but I don't think the authors intended for us to understand everything anyway. But I did enjoy it for the most part, and it was an interesting story. Just not my absolute favorite of all the 2025 books I read. Ultimately, I do think it's an important and relevant book, so there's that. Number 5 is our first nonfiction book of this list. I am including fiction and nonfiction here, which maybe makes the list even more dynamic, and there's just so much to it. There's a lot of variety, and like I said, it might be kind of unfair, but I'm just doing this the way I want to. And that is Bottom of the Pyramid by Nia Su. This is a memoir by the former Dance Moms reality TV star, dancer, social media personality, actress, musician, mostly known as being someone on Dance Moms, so she's done other things too, which the book goes into. It's just a memoir about her life, a lot about being on the show, which I found very interesting, just behind the scenes perspective of being on a reality show, because they make things appear a certain way, but then you learn about things that happened behind the scenes that you wouldn't have known about, and you get to know how she felt about it and how that affected her personal life and her family and all that, and her self-confidence. I think that she went through some things but definitely came out feeling confident, and I liked hearing her perspective and her attitude and just learning about her life. I definitely thought it was interesting. Not the most wild or best memoir I've ever read, but it wasn't bad either. Like, I don't really have any complaints about it. So yeah, I mean, it was pretty good. Once we get to this book is where we get to the 5 stars, although like I said, I gave Green Jolene 5 stars. It was a little mixed there with Time Rider being 4 stars, but from here on out it's 5 stars and up. Well, not up, but 5 stars and staying that way. Number 4 is this graphic novel, Speechless, by Erin Nell Steinke. This is a middle grade story about a girl who struggles with selective mutism. She works on these, like, I think they're stop motion videos at home. She has a YouTube channel, and it's about her developing friendships and learning what she's struggling with and seeing a therapist, and it also has some things about family in it. I think this is another important book about a condition I don't see a lot of representation about, so I think that's really important. So I resonated with it and found it helpful. I didn't walk away from this feeling that I absolutely loved the book, but I did appreciate what it had in it, and I thought it was good overall. It's a graphic novel, so it has some nice colorful art in it. So yeah, it's not at the top of my list, but I did enjoy it, and I thought it was pretty good, and I do appreciate this book's existence. Now with the top 3, we're getting into some books that I really, really enjoyed. Number 3 is Yoko by David Sheff, a biography about Yoko Ono written by a close longtime friend of hers. I didn't know a whole lot about Yoko Ono before reading this, but I wanted to learn more about her. I was open to it, and I really enjoyed learning more about her. This book pretty much goes over her whole life and a lot of things in it, the different kinds of art she did, and explaining it, because they're a bit unique and not understood by everyone, but this definitely helped me understand it more, and her relationships, the things she's been through, how she dealt with things, the activism she did, things she believed in. It was just a really interesting biography. I really enjoyed learning more about her, and I find that I like her more now. I never had anything against her like some people do, but yeah, it was a really interesting biography. I had to return the physical copy to the library, so I don't have it with me anymore like I did for the review and my video about the best nonfiction I read, but I do think I might get a physical copy of it for myself someday. I rarely do that nowadays, where I like a book so much from the library I want to get my own copy of it. Like, I really like Heartstopper, for example, but I don't really plan on getting physical copies of that. But with a nonfiction book, it's a little different, because that's the kind of thing that's got information I might want to reference later. It's got photos in it, which I enjoyed, so I might do that at some point. But in the past couple of years, I've done that very little, like once or twice. I used to do it more, and nowadays not so much. Number 2 is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, the new Hunger Games prequel, definitely the most popular book on this list. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this. I don't know if it was my absolute favorite in the series. I think I'm going to be a little basic, but for good reason, and say that I think Catching Fire is still my favorite, but this is maybe number 2 or 3 for me. I enjoyed this. It was definitely sad, but I was very invested. I thought it was really interesting, really entertaining. I wasn't really bored with it. It was really fun reading this, as a lot of other people were at the same time, and seeing people's thoughts on it once I was done with it. That was a fun thing to be a part of. I think it shows that the author is a really good author when this book contained things where you knew a lot of what was going to happen, but you still wanted to read it anyway, because with some things you didn't know exactly how or when they were going to happen, and they were sad things too, so you wouldn't think you'd be looking forward to reading them, but I was intrigued. But even before then, everything was interesting too. I didn't read this just to see what was going to happen at the end. Like, I think the whole thing was pretty good. There were some shocking things, and I think some good commentary on things, especially like government and technology and things like that. So yeah, I think that this was really good. I think it was worth the wait and worth the hype. For me, definitely the prequel I liked more. And number 1, my favorite 2025 book that I read in 2025 was Fahrenheit 182 by Mark Hoppus, his memoir that came out in April. Why I enjoyed this so much ultimately comes down to bias and just being a really big Blink-182 fan, so that led to how much I like this. Like with Bottom of the Pyramid by Nia Su, I liked it, but I'm not like a really big fan of her. Like, I like her enough, I follow her, but it's not like that big. But I've been really into Blink-182 since mid-2024, so yeah, this was definitely a delight and a treat to read and listen to, which I normally don't do with books, but I did that with this because I wanted to, so yeah, really fun. Even being a big fan who's done a lot of research, there were still things in this that I don't know, that I don't think were ever talked about publicly, and I thought it was interesting, funny, emotional, inspiring, has a lot of nice photos in it. Like, a lot of books, especially nonfiction books, will have like bunch of color photos in the middle. This didn't have any of that, just had a bunch of black and white photos throughout the book, and I thought that was nice. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I had been waiting a few months for this book. I think it was definitely worth the wait. It was another thing, like Sunrise on the Reaping, where it was exciting to read it when it came out and see what the community was saying about it. So I don't think I really had any disappointments with this. I mean, it's already almost 400 pages, and I, like some other fans, said it could have been longer. Like, there were definitely some things in his career he didn't go over, but I understand that not everyone wants to read a really long memoir, but especially more casual fans or people who are just curious. But I know there are memoirs out there that are longer, so I guess it could have been a little longer, but I'm satisfied with it ultimately. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. It was really fun to be able to read this as a fan. So here's my stack, not complete because not all the books I own physically, but the ones I do own, that is the ranking from top to bottom. So thank you for watching my 2025 book releases I read in 2025 ranked. I didn't do this for 2024, but I definitely see this being a video I can do each year going forward. And thank you for watching.